8:22, we're back. Time to talk about love. Relationship expert Dr. Dain Heer back on the BT couch. I forgot my three-piece at home. Broken style. And that's a good start.
I had to be here with you, so I dressed it up a notch.
Well, you look great, and in case you have yet to check out the book, Being You, Changing the World, plenty of research about dynamics. And one of the focal points you point out is forget the fairy tale of finding love. What are singles, the single people out there, doing to set themselves up for failure?
Oh, they're doing so many things, but one of the ones is that they look for Prince Charming. Basically three things. They look for Prince Charming, they look for a fixer-upper, and they look for a soulmate. What that does is it sets us up with just a checklist. Like, you know, we basically live in a Tinder society at this point. Oh, they look right, I'll have them, I'm sure it's going to work. We never actually look at what's true for us, and the fact that what's true for us and what will actually work for us in relationship is usually so different than what we think it is. And it's so different than what we're told from the time we're little kids about what we should want. And the difficulty is the fairy tale doesn't exist and the perfect person doesn't exist. But you describe it. We were talking earlier and you said what I wanted in a relationship was somebody with genuineness and warmth. And I think, that's a great starting point, but most people don't even get there.
So there are a couple things that stand out. Let's start with the first one, your Prince Charming example. If we're putting somebody on a pedestal and then making a checklist of what we're looking for, what's the common mistake? Because when I found Lori, I was proactive about what I wanted in a partner, but what are the common mistakes with making a checklist about your person?
I'd say the biggest one is that it's usually not even our checklist. And so what happens is we've got this set of ideals that we learn from our parents, because most of us learn to create a relationship that's very similar to the one our parents had, unless, like you said, we're willing to be proactive in finding out what's really true for us. And unfortunately, that takes a bit of work, and most people don't want to do the work, they just want to find the perfect one. And so that right there sets us up for failure, because I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody who's perfect. You and Lori have an amazing relationship, but you work on it, right? And you put in time, you put in energy, and most people just want to find the perfect person who's going to make everything work. We're setting ourselves up for failure right there. And then the other thing is, if you're going to make a checklist, that's great. Write down everything you would desire in a relationship and everything you would like them to have, and then write down everything you want them not to have. Because if you write down just what you'd like them to have, you'll more than likely get it, but then you'll also get all these other things that you don't want. And it's okay to have your own point of view about what you desire, especially even if it's different than your friends, even if it's different than what your mom and dad think you should have. And in so doing, you actually start to create something that works for you.
One of the other points you brought up when you're finding your partner, sometimes you could be the person that wants to give a lot. And when you see somebody out there that you think, and I've done this before, I go out there and I'm like, hey, I could really help here. Maybe I could swoop in and make things better. What's the problem with doing that?
There's a few problems. Well, number one, if you have the idea that you need to give 150% in a relationship, you'll most often find somebody who'll take 200%. And the thing is, if somebody's functioning from need, so if you are one of these people who finds fixer-uppers, what ends up happening is that person, you can't fulfill somebody's need because need is always an invention. It's always a creation in their mind and in their world based on their past, based on whatever has been their experience in life. And you can't actually fulfill somebody's need. Only they can. So that ends up in disappointment. When I ask people, I say, do you buy fixer-upper houses? And they go, of course not, it's too much work. And I'm like, well, then why do you do fixer-upper relationships, And they get this stunned look on their face. And then the other thing that happens when you get a fixer-upper is you fix them up, over the course of weeks, months, or years, and then once they're all fixed up, then they leave you for somebody else because they finally get a sense of the value of them.
You're like, wait, I made the down payment here. Hold on a second.
I'm the one who invested. Why is it going into somebody else's account? But that's what happens most often, because if you're doing the fixing up, what happens is what the person on the other side receives is a huge amount of judgment that they're not enough, they're not good enough, and once they finally get to a place where they have a sense of themselves and they're looking better, they're dressing better, they're feeling better, somebody comes along and goes, wow, you're awesome, and they go, oh my God, you're right, all I get at home is judgment, let's go.
So remove the judgment. These are great ideas. We're just scratching the surface on this. Being You, Changing the World is the name of the book again. And as we close this out, we only have a couple seconds here, but we're living in a culture of convenience. If there are any singles out there, they're going on a date tonight, what's the starting point? What's the simple thing to keep in mind with any new person you could meet?
Simple thing to ask is, what will this turn out like in 5 years if I choose to pursue this further? And you'll get a sense of it. Like you'll either contract or you'll go, huh. And look for that, because we actually know. The difficulty with all these checklists that we do is we go against our own knowing. Realize that you do know before you ever get there whether it will actually work out or not. Follow your knowing.
Trust your gut. Takes a bit of experience to get to that point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, Dain, thank you.
Thanks, Raz.
All right, we'll take a quick